All right, we're doing this. Hey, folks, welcome back to the channel. It's good to have you. So, for today's video, we're going to be talking a little bit about some of the pros, cons, advantages, disadvantages, what have you, of using range pickups or if you should just buy new brass. There are several manufacturers. Starline is one of them. I know Winchester, I've seen sell new brass, or the Cadillac of brass, if you will, Lapua. Essentially, the choice between using range pickups or buying new brass, it all boils down to economy versus consistency. So typically, when you're at the range, you see people leaving their brass there. A lot of people will just leave it on the ground or the floor in the case of indoor ranges. And generally, in my experience at least, they don't seem to care whether or not you take their brass. The best brass to use is brass that has been fire formed to your chamber. And that's mainly when it comes to resizing, especially for rifle brass, in particular, bottleneck rifle brass. One of the downsides to picking up range brass, especially if you weren't there when it hit the ground, is we don't know if that's a reloader who's fired it 5, 10 times and has realized, yep, this is the end of the road for this brass, the end of the line rather. Or whether that's someone who just left their brass on the ground, on the floor, what have you. The reason that's a problem is unknown history. If someone has been inspecting their brass, especially the inside, looking for what's an imminent case head separation, that might be why they left it there. Or it could just be someone who left it there. It's a double-edged sword, really, as far as mixed headstands. I'll give you an example. What we got here. This brass has been fire formed to my chamber. This brass was some 223 and or 556 brass that I've just been collecting. It's mixed head stamp, which could be good, could be bad. It all depends, again, on how far you're trying to shoot. If we're talking plinking rounds, low pressure, where you're more than fine with the ammo not shooting MOA, sub MOA, then this could work out for you. This is pretty much the same thing as this, as far as this being mixed head stamp, but these were fired from one of my buddies. So this ammo was ammo that I was there when it got shot, and I saw it come from factory ammo. This, most of it, I was there when the other guys at the range were also shooting it. But most of this brass, with the exception of this 223 556 brass, this has been not really processed at all. And by processed, I mean the one-time steps in case prep that you typically have to do for 223 and 556. For example, primer pocket uniforming. Some people don't see that as necessary, and I don't blame them. This brass has been unprocessed, and by that, I mean it has not had, it may or may not have had the military crimps removed, either reamed or with some other form of cutting them or swaging the primer pocket so that a new primer can seat fairly easily. So this brass was from factory ammo that I used the last time I went to the range, just for warming up. One thing that I was kind of concerned about, I don't know if it's really an issue or whether I'm just overthinking it, is possible differences in case capacity between virgin brass and fire formed brass fire formed from virgin brass that has only been loaded once. Now, There is actually a third option as far as ways you can get your brass, different way brass is sold, rather. And that is what some companies call seconds or pull downs. Basically, what that means is that ammunition was made and it was disassembled, the components were separated and then sold. So you may see bullets in large quantities that are just coming to you in a plastic bag. Hopefully, not a bag like this, because that's just a terrible idea. As far as these seconds, it's not uncommon for them to sell the brass still primed. The last point I planned to make is organization and separation. Now, 5.56, 223, the rifle that I'm using here on the channel for the 223 and 5.56 load development is a 5.5. It's chambered in 5.56. So, with the exception of most of this, the gun has shot all this ammo, has shot ammo from this brass at least once. This stuff is twice fired. Now, as far as organizing, if I had my way, all the brass for every cartridge would be in one of these. If y'all are interested, I can show you how I got my brass organized, separated, what have you. But I would imagine most of y'all really don't give a damn about that. But yeah, folks, I just wanted to do a quick video on that. There are pros and cons to buying new brass versus picking up brass at the range. And really, it all depends. Are we talking plinking rounds, or precision? Yeah, guys, that pretty much sums it up. So, if y'all want to know a little bit more, or a lot of bit more, about range pickups versus new brass or pressure signs, things to look for, just let me know. I can make a video like that for you folks, especially some of the newer reloaders out there. Personally, I have seen pressure signs in my reloads, and I've kept on shooting because I accepted the risk because I believed I knew what caused the pressure signs. But that's a topic for another video. So until the next time, folks, I hope all your shots fall in place to make one hole ever so slightly bigger with each pull of the trigger. See you next time.